Hi everyone, in this video I will explain Python decorators and will show a real-life example for calculating the execution time of one or another wrap function. What is wrap function? You don't still know. Just wait a little bit, I will explain. That is the part of understanding the Python's decorator. So there are two things that you need to memorize. First, functions in Python are first-class objects, and therefore you can pass functions as arguments to functions and return functions from functions. So as any other string or integer or whatever it is, any other object, Python functions can be passed to other functions and returned from other functions. The other thing you want to memorize, because Python functions are first-class objects, those can be defined in other functions. So firstly, they can be passed and returned, and secondly, they can be defined in other functions. And remember, decorators are also functions. The difference from functions is that decorators takes as arguments and return functions, not just ordinary well-known objects, but functions. Actually, internally there's no difference for Python. Decorators are not something special because everything is objects. Everything is object in Python. So if that's hard to remember, to understand, to memorize, that's not a problem. Just let's step in uh, and practice on real examples. So firstly, I am defining a function and I call that function my decorator. As you see, this is my decorator function, which takes as an argument some function. What it does, my decorator function defines other function called wrapper. It can be anything you want. It just makes easier to understand decorators. Calling this function wrapper makes it easier to understand it. So print before. You will understand why before in a second. Then I call past function, argument function, and I print after. And I return the wrapper function because function is a first-class object and I can return it. So this is my decorator. Now I defined just another function which is going to be decorated. Just another function. And that function just prints function Russian guy said I can do that too. So this just another function does very simple thing. It just prints Russian guy said I can do that too. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this. I assign the value that my decorator function, which takes as argument this function, to this function. So I call this function with this argument and I assign the value that this statement returns to this. And I call just another function. So remember, you see that definition of this function says that it should print only Russian guy said. I can do that too, but let's guess what this program will print. So remember, I assigned this to this function. This is function because this statement returns a function, but it returns this function where I print something, call some function, and print some other thing. So as you can guess, this is an error because just another function. My decorator, where is my line 13, right? Just another function, my decorator. Let's make it simple. No, it's the same. Actually, it's not defined. Just another function is not defined. Oh shit. Let's call it just another function. Just another function is defined. Just another function is defined because it is just another function. Just another function is just another, it is defined, but it is not called. So as you can see, first it prints before, then it prints what is defined in just another function, and then it prints after. So this is what we did. We wrapped this function with this function, which prints before, calls the main function, and then prints after. So this, as an argument, can be passed any other function, and whatever it is, firstly, before string will be printed, then the function passed as an argument will be called, and then after the string after will be printed. So this is the basic idea of decorator. Now let's discuss a real life, let's say, useful example. The useful example is calculation of the time takes for function to be executed. So let's remove all this thing and define another decorator, timing function. And as you can guess, we will pass some function as an argument, and we will wrap that function. We will fix the time before the call statement of some function. Then we will fix the t1, and we will fix the time after ending the execution of some function. t2 is equal to time, and we will print it took plus cost to string, before this is integer, t2 minus t1 plus something. I'm not sure this is calculated in seconds, so that therefore I print something. And we return wrapper. So this is the decorator function. So we can do some other function, and in some other function we can for x in x range, let's say 100,000, print x, and print x, and wrap that function. Some other function is equal to timing function. The code is coming to me. Some other function, and let's call this some other function. Let's copy paste to avoid mistakes. So what is going to happen? We call this function after wrapping it with timing function, and therefore we should also we should see the output of this statement, print x. So this is all the number from 0 to 100,000, and at the end we should see how long it took to be executed. So let's run this. Some other function, and yes, we need this keyword here. Sorry for that. Is not defined timing function. Yeah, I suck on this. So let's do time is not defined before, because we need to include the library, import the library import time, and it runs, and it took 0.26 something. If we double the size of the numbers to be printed, let's remember this 0.26, run it again. Yes, it doubled the number. So as you can see, we now can calculate of any function passed through timing function. But there is a trick, a syntactic sugar in Python, which allows us to do exact this thing. But in place of doing this, of writing this ugly statement, we can do this. So this is for replacing this statement. So if before definition of any function we want, we will print timing function, Python interpreter will wrap the function that defined after this with these statements here. So if we have another function, we want to calculate the execution type of that function, we can wrap this using this syntax. So after calling this some other function, the result, as we can see, will be the same. So this is, guys, the Python decorators. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in comments, like and subscribe for other videos. See you next time.